Tonight on CTV News at 11:30. It's been 15 years since Luke was seen. North Bay police say they're confident someone out there has information in the disappearance of Luc Joly de Rocher. Plus, a homeless outreach team in North Bay is pulling out of the city.
There are a number of options on the table that could take place.
The Social Services Board now only has a few months to find someone else to pick up the mantle. And protesting the Premier's plans on education.
I don't think he understands that we need this money to be able to continue our education.
Hundreds gather at Queen's Park to send the Ford government a message.
CTV News at 11:30 with Ian Campbell and Rick Wyman with weather.
Good evening. Thanks for staying up with us. It is a chilling anniversary and one that's left a family in agony for 15 years. Where is Luc Joly de Rocher? Originally from Timmins, Quebec, Luc was visiting friends on Sherbrooke Street in North Bay at the time of his disappearance. He was last seen at the corner of Main and Wild Streets in the city. Despite extensive investigative efforts, he hasn't been located, and police believe there is someone out there with information that could move this case forward. A reward of $50,000 is being offered for information that leads to the arrest and conviction of the person responsible. The need for volunteer firefighters continues in Greater Sudbury as the union representing them and the city work together to address recruitment and retention. CTV's Lindsay Alick reports.
Every year, Fire Services makes a presentation to City Council reflecting on the previous year of recruitment. In a report to be presented next Tuesday, staff say a total of 229 applications were submitted, but many didn't move on because they didn't live in catchment areas supported by volunteer firefighters.
We have recently implemented a strategy where they can type in their address and it will show them on the city website which is their closest volunteer station and if they're applicable to be able to apply to this. Some of the other ones is obviously physical testing, and then last is the interview stage.
Christian Labour Association of Canada represents over 200 volunteer firefighters in the city. The union says in order to best serve the vast geography, they'd like to see that number closer to 300. Unfortunately, year over year, they're seeing about 20% of volunteers leaving,
which is high. That's a lot of turnover. You're statistically losing replacing your service every 5 years, but realistically what you're doing is just losing a few people for various reasons, sometimes at the higher years of service, but it's often the newer folks that might leave for various different reasons. And then having to replace those is very expensive and costly, and everyone else that's left behind, of course, has to carry the load.
Josh Corbett, known as half of the Pure Country Morning Show, has been a volunteer firefighter since 2023.
I think if you ask anyone in the service, it comes down to wanting to give back, wanting to help others, but do so in a way that's very frontline, boots on the ground. You know, you're able to put the work in rather than be more behind the scenes.
Walchuk says that the union and the city are working collaboratively to address recruitment and retention. He says he remains hopeful with upcoming open houses and presentations at local high schools that people will see the opportunity and become volunteer firefighters. Lindsay Alick, CTV News, Sudbury.
Sudbury's mayor is calling on the province to provide a special status to help fix what he calls an unsustainable economic deal. Paul Lefebvre is formally asking the province to designate the city as a special economic zone. The move would allow the city to bypass some provincial red tape and potentially keep more mining tax revenue locally. The mayor says the status is about acknowledging Sudbury's role in a global race for resources.
The interest in mining there's never been so much and so focused that it is now. And so we need to support our mining companies. And that's why we support the municipalities that are supporting the mining companies with better infrastructure to ensure that happens. So it's more of a, when the city of Greater Sudbury applies to any other funding envelopes that exist, that we get a second look, because we're just not a regular municipality. We're actually delivering something very important to the sovereignty of our country.
The mayor adds this is not a handout. The tools exist and the city is asking for them to be used here and now. Most provinces and territories have now signed an agreement to create a national energy corridor. Ontario calls it a historic effort to strengthen Canada's electricity systems. The Memorandum of Understanding was initiated by Ontario. The aim is to advance new electricity transmission projects across the country by breaking down barriers between provincial grids.
Right now, our grids we have 13 islands in Canada of grids. They don't speak to each other. They often don't flow power to each other. In the territory's case, it's even more exacerbated. They're microgrids, islands within islands. So we have a real issue as a federation. And if we want to think of, we want to use the language the Fed say, one strong national economy, we agree. Then we need to have energy infrastructure that connects the dots. So the cost of inaction is meaning that we continue to buy expensive power from foreign nations. We are less energy independent. And we ultimately put our industry, our economy at risk because we don't have access to megawatts.
The agreement announced today was not signed by Quebec, Newfoundland and Labrador, and Nunavut. A warning tonight about toxic drugs. Northeastern Public Health Unit has issued an alert. It says it's seeing an increase in suspected opioid poisonings across its catchment area. Officials are warning people, even if you don't use often, poisonings can be fatal. They're urging people to have a plan in place, avoid mixing substances, and to carry naloxone Narcan kits. A homeless outreach team in the North Bay area is pulling out of the city at the end of May. It means the Social Services Board has a few months to find another organization to take up the mantle. CTV's Eric Tashner has more.
Formed in 2006, True Self works to help people recover from abusive relationships, get mental health and addiction support, and provides community homeless outreach.
It would be harmful for us to continue in the direction that we're going, knowing that we would be underservicing.
But now, so as not to burn out staff, the 12-hour weekday and 8-hour weekend service will be pulling out of North Bay to focus mainly on Nipissing First Nation members.
Our community members are in North Bay, Sturgeon Falls area, and we want to ensure that we can support them wherever they are on or off reserve.
Nipissing First Nation Social Services received funding to launch a 90-day addiction recovery wellness camp this summer.
There were outreach workers that were supported in North Bay, which we have to pull to focus on this 90-day, 24-hour camp.
True Self will be moving into the east end of the First Nation at the beginning of June.
There are a number of options on the table that could take place.
Social Services of the Nipissing District Board Chair Mark King is confident another outreach program will step up to fill the void in the city.
There are people now looking at the opportunity to fulfill that service on behalf of DSEP. We'll have to see how that works out.
Social Services says there will be no layoffs. A majority of staff will be utilized for the wellness camp. The homeless outreach program will still run, but on a smaller scale.
This is about us changing our relationship to better suit the capacity.
The latest count of homeless people in the Nipissing District found over 450 people living on the streets in a count conducted last fall. 35% self-identified as Indigenous. Eric Tashner, CTV News, North Bay.
Hundreds gathered at Queen's Park today as protests continue over the Ford government's plans to cut student grants while also lifting a freeze on tuition. It's a decision many students say will impact their ability to afford a post-secondary education. CTV's Siobhan Morris reports.
Hundreds of people jammed onto the lawn of the Ontario legislature, angry and worried about changes the Ford government is making to OSAP.
I don't think he understands that we need this money to be able to continue our education.
Students streamed in from campuses near and far.
There's a group of us here from Chunk University. We got on a bus today and we're all here today from Peterborough. We're here for this.
The government's reducing the number of grants available through OSAP, putting a greater emphasis on loans that need to be paid back.
If these don't get reversed, I'm going to have to start off my education, my career in adulthood and thousands of dollars of debt.
A lot more debt, a lot less ability to take classes. Everything costs money.
It puts those studying for in-demand jobs like early childhood education in limbo.
I want to go back. I hope I can.
It is a big decision, and it will affect my entire future.
The Minister of Colleges and Universities says the changes are meant to rebalance a system that's become unsustainable. Students will still be able to get help with OSAP.
They're just going to make a little bit of a bigger investment into their future career earnings, but that will pay off tenfold once they graduate and go into their career choices.
It's the scale of that change that's unsettled students.
If he wants to make people not riot, he can, at the very least, make it a gradual change, but even that's not enough.
Hours later, some demonstrators clashed with police just outside Queen's Park. This student got caught up in it.
I turn back around, I'm looking at this guy, and he shoves me out of nowhere. He breaks my headphones here, rips me right through to my jacket.
Toronto police say they arrested 2 people. A statue of George Brown was also defaced with spray paint and markers.
Opposition leaders say the turnout here today shows just how deep the worry around OSAP has become. They're planning to make their own noise when the legislature resumes in a few weeks.
Well, we're going to ask them to reverse the cuts on OSAP. We may go further than that. We're working on something right now.
The thing I know about Doug Ford is he tends to see the light when he feels the heat.
Heat students are promising to keep turning up. At Queen's Park, Siobhan Morris, CTV News.
Still at Queen's Park, the Ford government has announced a review of EQAO testing. The province is creating an advisory board to look into the standardized testing and how Ontario can improve outcomes for students. EQAO results released in December showed half of grade 6 students and 42% of grade 9 students were not meeting the provincial standard in math. At the time, Education Minister Paul Calandra also said there was inadequate progress in reading and writing. Well, it will soon cost more to get a Canadian passport. The federal government is increasing fees on March 31st. It says the price adjustment reflects inflation and the growing cost of producing secure travel documents. The cost of a 5-year adult passport will increase by $2.50 to $122.50, and the price of a 10-year adult passport will be $163.50. Well, time now for a short break here on CTV News. Coming up, Rick will have your full weather forecast. For now, look at the weather warnings we have in place tonight, and that yellow right from Wawa straight across the board to the Quebec border. That encompasses the watershed to Miskaming Shores and certain areas. Temagami, I think, is in there, as well as is Chapleau. That is a freezing drizzle warning. Icy roads, slippery conditions. That's going to last right into Thursday morning. Be careful if you're out there walking or if you're out there and you have to travel. Let's check the current conditions, and that is how the temperatures look as it is right now. You can see there is clearly a change in the temperatures going right across the middle of our broadcast region. A little cold up to the north. -3 in Sudbury, -19 in Kapuskasing, -12 in Wawa. We'll have details after the break.
When you see it happen, send it to CTV News. Text 10400 from your screen to ours. Text 10400.
Well, for the next couple of days, some different weather in the Northeast. A little warmer, perhaps some rain, perhaps some snow, perhaps some sleet. We'll take a look at the numbers momentarily. Our forecast radar as it approaches, well, by the weekend anyways. You can see that precipitation moving in, and again, we'll talk about that as of right now as we go by the numbers. 7-day forecast, Sudbury Nickel Belt, chance of flurries for tomorrow -2. 3 degrees on Friday to start your weekend. Pretty well the story right across the Northeast as well. Rain Saturday. This is going to be a reading of 4 degrees for the expected high. Sunday, we've got sun and cloud at 5. So again, you go from cloud to rain to sun and cloud, and even sleet on Monday at 7, and rain again next Tuesday, 2 degrees. Sault Ste. Marie, Algoma, sun and cloud to start things off for tomorrow with a high of 1. Chance of showers Friday at 5. Again, chance of showers Saturday at 3. Sun and cloud Sunday at 6. Chance of sleet on Monday at 8, and rain again 3 degrees your expected high come Tuesday. How about Timmins, Cochrane, Kapuskasing? Sun and cloud tomorrow, some cloud cover Friday. That's a familiar story already. And the chance of flurries in this case, not rain, but flurries. Saturday, -1. Chance of sleet Sunday at 4. Chance of flurries once again Monday. And the chance of snow, a good bet here, 60% come Tuesday. Now to Miskaming Shores and Kirkland Lake. Chance of flurries tomorrow at -5, 3 degrees on Friday, some cloud cover. Saturday, we've got some flurries and some showers in the forecast at 3, 5 degrees Sunday, some sun and cloud. Monday, chance of flurries. And again, Tuesday, chance of sleet with a reading of -1 for your expected high. We'll wrap things up this hour with a look at North Bay and West Nipissing. Chance of flurries -1, 4 degrees on Friday with the cloud. Some shower activity on Saturday, a balmy 7 degrees. Sunday, sun and cloud at 5. Chance of sleet Monday, 7 degrees your expected high. And again, 4 degrees come Tuesday with the rain. Let's not forget, in Campbell, there's a freezing drizzle warning as issued by Environment Canada for a lot of places in the north, like Chapleau and Wawa and areas in that corridor. So we'll keep an eye on that tonight and overnight as well. I'll throw things back to you as of right now.
Thanks so much, Rick. And all of this milder weather that he was just talking about has been great for melting snow, but it's putting a cramp in some winter activities. This was the scene tonight down at the Ramsey Lake Skating Path in Sudbury. It and the Queen's Park Athletic Skating Oval are both closed until further notice. The city says it's monitoring the rinks and will provide updates if conditions improve. Ice fishing is a popular pastime in the Northeast and in the greater Sudbury community of Azilda. There's a village of sorts on Whitewater Lake. CTV's Madison Merrier has more.
Fishers have parked their boats for the winter and headed out on the lake with snowmobiles and vehicles so they can continue fishing year-round.
Sometimes you only see these people once a year on the lake. And there's a lot of new faces, though. It's good that Azilda is prospering.
It's a hobby. It's just getting out, meeting people, like my neighbor over there, Paul. And it's awesome. I love it.
The huts made it out later this year than expected in January. The permanent huts must be removed in March. So as the season is nearing its end, there's plenty of motivation to get out on the ice.
There's 38 to 40 inches of ice on the lake, so there's no panic. And usually the ice gets all flattened, and you could drive with a motorcycle or a car, or I am hoping to take my hovercraft on the lake.
I think I'll be here till about 2, 3 o'clock, and bring the hut tomorrow, and then I'll probably end up driving on the lake if it's a nice day and do some more fishing.
It's a nice pastime if you have the weather, and it's not an expensive sport if you walk out from the shore and drill a hole and put a line down. So it's easy to do. And it's fun. I mean, but it's fishing. So you don't always catch something, but if you do it, you can get a nice meal out of it.
Many community members say their love of fishing is what drew them out here in the first place. But the tight-knit community is what keeps them coming back year after year. Madison Merrier, CTV News, Azilda.
The Timmins Chamber of Commerce celebrated International Women's Day a few days early with a Women in Business luncheon. The guest speaker was a Timmins native who last year was named one of Canada's most powerful women. CTV's Lydia Chubak reports.
Longer reserved for the biggest companies.
Catherine Chaika, born and raised in Timmins, leads JKC Restaurants, which operates over 75 Wendy's and Tim Hortons locations in Canada and globally. The Timmins Chamber of Commerce selected her to be the guest speaker at its Women in Business luncheon, celebrating International Women's Day.
So somebody that was raised in Timmins and somebody that's seen a lot of success in business, as we've heard from her today, really what it means to go into business and how natural it was because she was brought up with entrepreneurship, how you have to take calculated risks, investing in your people and your workforce, the importance of that.
Chaika says success is a result of how one shows up. The example she gave was one of her most notable business achievements, turning around the struggling Wendy's restaurants in Quebec. She says the strategy to her was clear: eliminate friction from the people closest to the customer to deliver a better experience. And if they win, the business wins.
While, my title and my bio sound like, I've made it, there's still so many challenges that I deal with every single day, right? And so I think that's just part of building a business or being a leader in general. And so I just want them to leave knowing that, you know, not everything's a linear process. You don't just move up and keep going up. You know, there's downs. If there weren't downs, the ups wouldn't be as exciting. And so I think that's a really important message for women.
Chaika suggests women do something they enjoy, something that feels good, and explore where that takes them. And the Link North program in Timmins is there to help.
We actually fund certain business sectors like the manufacturing, the industrial, anyone that's maybe looking to do some innovative project within the agri-foods, agri-tourism sector. We like to fund and provide support for those businesses that are looking to either commercialize or scale their operations or even develop a new product or technology.
Today's luncheon was a sold-out crowd, including many women who hold leadership roles in the city. Lydia Chubak, CTV News, Timmins.
There's a new children's book about life in a residential school. The subject is the focus of Shirley Horn's first book, based on her childhood at the Shingwalk Residential School in Sault Ste. Marie. A launch event was held at Algoma University, just steps from where Shirley spent ages 7 to 13. Horn and combination author illustrator Joanne Robertson held a reading and autographed copies of Shirley, an Indian residential school story. The book features real photos along with cartoon imagery. The 70-page paperback includes personal stories from the survivor mixed with the humor she says was necessary in coping with being taken from her family at a young age.
You're missing your language, you're missing your community, you're missing your elders, you're missing your the love of your grandparents. You know, sort of a lot of big holes that we had to fill in ourselves. And that's when we talk about resilience.
I think the time that we're living in now, or even any time, it's good for children to know that they're strong enough to figure things out for themselves. And I think a lot of Shirley's stories give a good example of that.
It's up to us as individuals to figure what is our role in truth and reconciliation, and I believe this is mine.
Horn says the book was written with children in mind to teach but not traumatize them. Still ahead tonight on CTV News. A wild night for Northern hockey fans down in Flint as our Greyhounds hit the road. More on that after this. It was a big game over in the OHL tonight as the Sioux Greyhounds faced off against their Michigan rivals, the Firebirds, down in Flint.
Chance for it. It's a shot from Minyosa. He scores.
Hound star Marco Minyosa, the first to find the back of the net in the second period. This game would really come down to goaltending, though, with Carter George in net, stopping an incredible 43 shots on goal. Flint would outshoot the Sioux 43-21. A tying goal late in the third would send this one into overtime, and after a scoreless fourth, it would head into a shootout where the Sioux goes on to take this one, making 2 of 4 shots on net. Sioux netminder George also leaving tonight with the first star of the game. Final score, Sault Ste. Marie 4, Flint 3. Finally tonight, one of Canada's most iconic outdoor rinks has called it quits for another season. The warmer weather means the Rideau Canal is now closed for the year. CTV's Peter Sperling reports.
It's the first and last skate of the season on the Rideau Canal for Mark Northcott.
This was awesome.
He's making the most of the final day of skating.
So this is the one chance I got today was to do it. Wish I'd done more.
The world's largest skateway will officially close at 10 p.m. Wednesday as temperatures warm up.
But absolutely a phenomenal season. So many happy faces, so many smiling faces. So it's just been wonderful.
Million people. Toby Nussbaum, CEO of the National Capital Commission, appearing on CTV Your Morning Ottawa, saying more than 1 million people visited the skateway this season.
Whenever we break 1 million, we're super happy. So, you know, the crews did an amazing job of keeping the ice in really, really good shape.
And it felt like most of them came here for lunch or dinner, so we're very grateful for that.
The 56th season, open for 56 days, good for neighboring businesses. Skating, a draw for visitors from near.
Many people are smiling on the canal, so it's great.
And far. This family lives in Paris, France, but back in Canada for a visit. The canal, a must-see.
It's
Important for my daughter to see her roots in Canada as well and get a good skate on the canal.
Sun, warm temps, and skating in shorts.
Yeah, it's above zero. I figured, you know what? Why not? It's the last day. Live a little.
This skater, 36 kilometers so far, just on this day.
I love it. I particularly enjoyed it so much. Last season, I did 268.
It's awesome. Woo, enjoying it.
And no skate would be complete without a beaver tail.
It's a beautiful day out. It's the last day to go skate, so we figured we might as well go out and get some exercise, get a bit of food after.
Peter Sperling, CTV News.
Still have yet to try that, but if I'm doing 38 kilometers, there better be a pretty big beaver tail at the end. That takes us to the end of our newscast this Wednesday night. For the latest news anytime, remember you can head to our website, ctvnewsnorthernontario.ca. You can also download our CTV News app. Thanks for watching. Good night.